you're supposed to interview some veteran for your class.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll just start talking, and then you can ask me later or stop me.
Okay.
I got my commission, became an officer at the University of Alabama, my military commission. And I was assigned, I got in the Air Force, and I was assigned to the 27th Bomb Group, stationed in Savannah, Georgia. The war had gotten started in Europe already. This was in 1940. And we stayed there, my outfit, until November of 41, when we went to the Philippines. We got to the Philippines on November the 20th of 1941. Of course, as you know, Pearl Harbor occurred on December the 7th. We got there on November the 20th. We were waiting to move to an air base north of Manila. And we were living at Fort William McKinley, which was an infantry outfit. After Pearl Harbor on December the 7th, Manila was declared an open city. No military attacks would be there. General MacArthur was in the Philippines at that time. And we stayed at Fort William McKinley. In the meantime, the Japanese are attacking our air base. We never moved to our airfield. We never had any airplanes. The Japanese had a blockade on the entire Pacific. You couldn't get any equipment or airplanes over there. We never got any equipment or airplanes. And on Christmas Eve of 1941, we got there November the 20th, on December the 24th, General MacArthur moved all the troops to the Bataan Peninsula. The Japanese were dominating. There wasn't no chance of us. At that time, we knew that it was going to be very difficult. So we went to Bataan, and the Japanese didn't have many troops fighting us, but we stayed on Bataan fighting from December the 24th of 41 till we were forced to surrender on April the 9th of 1942. Now the Japanese put on a big attack. They took Singapore. Are you with me? Okay. I mean, if you want to stop me, you can stop me anytime. Japanese captured Singapore and brought about 50,000 troops to Bataan. And they put on a final push, which we couldn't compete with. So we fought the Japanese vigorously against all odds, losing a lot of Americans. All Air Force became infantrymen. They took all the Air Force and put us on the front line. Gave us a rifle, no previous experience, no training. You can imagine taking kids out of flying school and put them on the front line infantry. We knew that the end was coming because we're losing lots of men. You can't get any food to us. In the meantime, the American government abandoned us. They were concentrating on the European theater. General MacArthur talked to President Roosevelt several times and said, please send me equipment. And he got the same answer. Well, we're going to do it, but they knew they couldn't, and they abandoned us completely. And we fought there on Bataan until General King surrendered. Then when he surrendered, we had no idea what we were going to face. We had no idea about the atrocities the Japanese committed on us. On the morning of April the 9th, we started what is known as the Bataan Death March. The Bataan Death March was approximately 100 kilometers, which is about 85 miles. And about 120,000 men, British prisoners, American prisoners, started this march. I was only on the march 5 days and 5 nights. Some other Americans were on a lot longer than me. The Japanese, now they they are firing at Corregidor. See, Corregidor is firing back. We're worried about projecting from our own friendly troops. And we are dodging. The Japanese are in trucks moving south. They got things swinging at us. A couple of the guys didn't duck in time, and they were decapitated. We didn't get anything but the 5 days out. I got one rice ball, and I couldn't eat it. My face was blistered, my lips were blistered. No water, except a lot of tanks, a lot of water on the side in different areas. But they wouldn't let us get anywhere. We were stepping over bodies. It is estimated by different authorities that probably 16,000 to 18,000 men died on the Bataan Death March. We were stepping over bodies continually. We arrived at our first prison camp called O'Donnell. O'Donnell was our first prison camp. We arrived there on April the 14th. We surrendered on April the 9th. We got there on April the 14th. And from April the 14th to June the 6th, April the 14th to June the 6th, 15,000 Filipinos and 3,000 Americans died in prison camp. The buildings were horrible. No food. You had to wait in line 8 hours to get a canteen of water. And when you came back, one of your buddies would be sick and dying with malaria or some disease, and you give it to them. We stayed here. They divided us into shooting squads. If one man escaped, they shot the other 9. I saw an incident happen there that really stuck with me, and it might have motivated me.